Mr. Whitley is next from the Contra Costa Council, and then Mr. Zuckerman, and after Mr. Zuckerman, it is Supervisor Rustaller. Mr. Whitley.
Good afternoon, Chair Eisenberg and members of the council. It's been probably a year or two since I've been here.
Yeah, but we've been sending the teams down to the Contra Costa Council frequently.
I compliment Mr. Frierini and Jessica. They were just there Tuesday and did a great job.
Indeed.
And I repeat what I told them then, is that very satisfied with personally the content, the process that you've gone through with the Delta Plan. Particularly, as you well know, up to now I've been testifying on the importance of levees and levee safety, and what has evolved, I think, is a very good document to go forward with. So now I want to get into something over the last 6 years I've resisted, which is getting sucked into the BDCP debate. But last year I knew that at some point probably would. And so in November I was asked by the coalition you heard from just 15 minutes ago to participate in the development of that letter and their 3,000 CFS portfolio approach.
You guys are one of the signatories.
We are one of the
supporting organizations.
We were among the first that supported it. And I want to elaborate a little why we did, and then repeat a request. On the premise that comprehensive solutions, as you've already looked at in your Delta Plan, are where we really need to end up being. The focus of just one conveyance facility is a decision that was made. But it is going to be asked to be supported by essentially the ratepayers. I mean, on the concept of beneficiary pays, that means the facility has to be paid for by the water users. What is always missing in the discussion is the water users only get their revenue from their ratepayers. And so the ratepayers are the underwriters of a $14 billion project that is being decided through this process, assuming that beneficiary pays principle holds true. And so being sucked into the discussion is because of other experiences. Well, what are the consequences to the ratepayers of this particular proposal? And there's the discussion about being benefits. But we also know, because of all the discussion, all the debate, adaptive management, there are going to be constraints placed upon the operation of that facility. We don't know what the details are, but we can all predict that there's going to be some restrictions going to be placed upon the operation of the facility, which means that the facility is going to be underutilized a percentage of time. So our point of view is requesting the evaluation. We're not endorsing a particular size. We're not endorsing 9,000. We're not endorsing 3. Is give us the information as to what is going to be the probability of utilization the ratepayers are going to have to pay for as a fixed cost. Because once the facility, and as it is now, that fixed cost is being passed on to the ratepayers, and will be for decades to come. What are they getting in the way of performance, in the way of utilization of that facility? My own perception is that if a decision were made to go to a smaller facility, the utilization rate of that facility would increase, and therefore the benefit to the ratepayer is going to be greater rather than having a sunk investment in something that isn't being utilized. I know what your purviews are, and my analogy is in another utility like power utilities, gas utilities. As they propose a new facility, they have to take it to the PUC and justify the size, the expense, and how much of that is passed on to the ratepayers. That must be done. That's a very deliberate process that has to be followed. And I guess I would like to see that same type of analysis be done on these types of facilities that are not borne by the state. It's being borne by the ratepayers. And what are the ratepayers? What are their obligations going to be for how long to pay for something that's going to be underutilized, or can they increase the utilization? That's the reason we signed on to it, because our members are essentially ratepayers. Ratepayers in Contra Costa Water District, East Bay Mud, but also in the area that will be affected by stuff. So basically, we're asking, give us the information so that that can be publicly known as to what that utilization rate really is for a $14 billion or $10 billion or an $8 billion project. Our request that we worked into the proposal was not to endorse the comprehensive thing, but to ask BDCP to include in their environmental documentation the different possible array of alternative sizes. Parallels probably the same request that you've made. Just include in your environmental documentation that array so it's out there at the time decisions are made. And that's primarily what we're here today say is just basically do what state law says they must do, which is evaluate a possible array of alternatives so that at the time decision makers have to make the decisions as they represent the ratepayers, they have the knowledge to do so. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitley.